You are literally rusting your arteries in the dark. 7 innocent bedtime habits are triggering a silent, lethal cardiovascular wildfire while you sleep. I survived a massive 3:15 a.m. heart attack to uncover the suppressed antidote the medical industry prays you never discover. It was exactly 3:15 a.m. There were no subtle warning signs, no gradual fading of the pulse, just an abrupt, crushing violence in the center of my chest, as if an invisible anvil had been violently dropped onto my ribs. A paralyzing, icy ache shot down from my left shoulder, spiraling all the way to the tips of my fingers, while a sheet of cold sweat pinned my heavy body to the mattress. In that suffocating, terrifying silence, broken only by the relentless ticking of the bedroom wall clock, I stared into the darkness and thought, is this really how it ends? Do 60+ years of human existence just extinguish in the dark, without even a fighting chance? It was not merely the primal terror of the grave that gripped my soul in that moment. It was a profound sense of helplessness. My heart, the most loyal companion that had beaten faithfully for decades, was suddenly mutating into an executioner, refusing to pump, suffocating me from the inside out. Healthy Aging US warmly welcomes you to a conversation that I promise will be one of the most critical turning points for the remainder of your life. Before we go any further into this dark reality, I need you to do something crucial. The algorithms that govern what we see online are designed to bury this exact type of raw, preventative truth, pushing it down to make room for highly profitable pharmaceutical advertisements. If you want to survive the hidden dangers of the night, I urge you to hit that subscribe button and like this video right now. Your support is the only way we can break the algorithm's stranglehold, allowing this channel to survive and continue bringing you these life-saving physiological truths. I miraculously survived that catastrophic myocardial infarction, but the true horror began the very next morning when my cardiologist patted my shoulder and casually dismissed my brush with death. He looked at me with hollow eyes and said that hearts just get weak with age, handing me a lifetime prescription and telling me to just take the pills. As a former science educator who has spent a lifetime unraveling the intricate mechanics of biology, a visceral rage boiled inside me at that answer. Dying in your sleep is not a natural phase of aging. It is a catastrophic mechanical failure, and in the universe of anatomy, every failure has a root cause. I refused to surrender my remaining years to a dismissive shrug and a plastic pill bottle. I locked myself in medical archives, desperately hunting through thousands of clinical trials and buried independent studies. What I found, lurking in the shadows of the medical establishment, chilled me deeper than the night of my heart attack. I uncovered the disturbing contents of a leaked 2019 internal memo from a pharmaceutical titan. The truth is sickeningly brilliant. This $89 billion cardiovascular industry does not profit from your healing. It thrives exclusively on your perpetual dependence. They meticulously manage your symptoms while keeping you entirely blind to the fact that your seemingly innocent evening routines are triggering a silent, biochemical wildfire. While you drift off to sleep, these nighttime rituals initiate a deadly process called glycation, which literally rusts the cholesterol in your blood. This rusting spawns oxysterols, microscopic sparks of inflammation that aggressively corrode your arterial walls while you are trapped in a state of unconsciousness. They have deliberately concealed the fact that the dead of night is when an aging heart is most utterly defenseless. We have been lied to, manipulated, and left to play Russian roulette in the dark. Now, it is time to take our physiological power back and expose the 7 deadly nighttime habits devastating your cardiovascular system. invisible traps that you are likely setting for yourself this very evening. To understand how we unwittingly participate in our own demise, we must first shine a light on the specific, seemingly harmless nighttime routines that fuel this biochemical wildfire. The realization that I was the architect of my own near-fatal heart attack was a bitter pill to swallow. But as I dissected my own evening behaviors under the harsh light of biological science, the invisible traps became glaringly obvious. The first deadly habit is one most of us are guilty of: the late-night carbohydrate comfort. Consuming sugars or simple starches within 2 hours of sleep creates a massive glucose spike right as your metabolic rate plummets, creating the perfect biochemical storm for glycation to bind sugar molecules to your blood lipids, literally caramelizing them into jagged, inflammatory particles. The second trap is the innocent evening glass of wine. While heavily romanticized for relaxation, alcohol forces your liver to halt its nighttime fat-clearing processes to process the ethanol, leaving triglycerides to stagnate and oxidize in your bloodstream while you sleep. The third habit is arguably the most insidious modern plague: late-night screen exposure. The artificial blue light emitting from your phone or television does not merely strain your eyes, it actively suppresses melatonin production while chronically elevating cortisol, creating a state of high-alert systemic inflammation that forces your heart to work against high blood pressure when it should be resting. This leads directly into the fourth habit, which is falling asleep to the television or audio playing in the background. My research revealed that these continuous sensory inputs cause microscopic neurological arousals throughout the night, completely robbing the cardiovascular system of the deep, slow-wave sleep phases required to repair the delicate endothelial lining of your blood vessels. The fifth silent killer is chronic, mild dehydration before bed. Out of a fear of waking up to use the restroom, many older adults restrict their water intake in the evening. This is a fatal miscalculation. As you lose moisture through respiration during sleep, your blood literally thickens into a viscous sludge, forcing your aging heart muscle to pump exponentially harder just to push this heavy fluid through narrowed, rusted arteries. The sixth habit involves consuming heavy, saturated animal fats at dinner. Unlike midday digestion, your nocturnal digestive process is sluggish, allowing these dense lipids to circulate for hours in the dark, acting as prime targets for the formation of oxysterols. Finally, the seventh habit is the willful ignorance of snoring or mild sleep apnea. For years, my wife nudged me when I snored, and I dismissed it as an annoyance. I did not realize that every time I stopped breathing, even for a few seconds, I was subjecting my heart to intermittent hypoxia, starving the cardiac tissue of oxygen and triggering a panic response that scarred my arteries night after night. Recognizing these treacherous habits was a horrifying mirror to hold up to my life, but it was the necessary foundation for stopping the damage. Recognizing these treacherous habits was only the first step in my journey. I still needed to uncover how to extinguish the microscopic flames of inflammation they had already ignited within my chest. As I dove deeper into the molecular biology of cardiovascular disease, bypassing the sanitized brochures sitting in my doctor's waiting room, I came face to face with the true assassin: oxysterols. Mainstream medicine is obsessed with lowering your total cholesterol, treating it like a toxic sludge that must be eradicated with synthetic statins. But cholesterol is fundamentally essential. It is the building block of your hormones and cell membranes. The actual danger only arises when those previously mentioned nighttime habits cause ordinary cholesterol to oxidize. When exposed to the oxidative stress of late-night sugar, cortisol, and dehydration, cholesterol morphs into oxysterols. These mutant molecules are no longer soft and pliable. They become jagged, reactive shards at the microscopic level. As your heart pumps in the dark, these shards tear into the inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium. Your body, in a desperate attempt to heal these micro-tears, sends immune cells called macrophages to the scene. But the macrophages gorge themselves on the oxysterols until they die, forming toxic foam cells that calcify into rigid, immovable plaques. This is the rusting process. It is silent, it is painless, and it happens while you are dreaming. The pharmaceutical industry knows this perfectly well, yet they continue to prescribe drugs that merely reduce the volume of the cholesterol rather than preventing it from rusting in the first place. This allows them to claim a statistical victory on your blood work while your arteries continue to stiffen and rot. My salvation came when I discovered a suppressed avenue of research from the late 1990s, buried deep within European clinical archives. Nature, in its infinite complexity, has already designed an antidote to this oxidative rusting. The key lies in specific classes of polyphenols and naturally occurring nitric oxide precursors that act as molecular shields for your lipids. I read in awe about indigenous populations who consumed diets rich in specific wild berries, aged garlic compounds, and unique amino acids like L-citrulline before resting. Their blood serum showed virtually zero presence of oxysterols, even well into their 80s. These natural compounds possess an extraordinary ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and the endothelial walls, effectively neutralizing the free radicals before they can ever mutate the cholesterol. They do not just mask the symptoms, they fundamentally alter the biochemical environment of the bloodstream, turning it from a corrosive acid bath into a healing, anti-inflammatory river. I realized that if I could harness these specific botanical and amino structures and introduce them into my system right before the vulnerable nighttime window, I could, theoretically, build a fortress around my heart while I slept. Armed with the knowledge of exactly how my arteries were being dismantled from the inside out, I meticulously engineered a nightly protocol to shield my heart and reverse the damage. I refused to let my kitchen counter look like a miniature pharmacy filled with synthetic chemicals. Instead, I turned it into an apothecary of scientifically validated natural biochemistry. I began by strictly enforcing a fasting window, sealing my lips to any form of caloric intake 3 hours before my head hit the pillow, effectively eliminating the late-night glucose spikes that initiated the glycation process. But the true magic happened in the specific regimen I crafted to consume exactly 1 hour before sleep. I sourced the highest quality aged black garlic extract I could find, knowing that its active compound, S-allylcysteine, is a master antioxidant that specifically targets and disarms circulating oxysterols. To this, I added a potent, bioavailable form of coenzyme Q10 and a concentrated extract of hawthorn berry. I did not take these indiscriminately. I took them with the precision of a chemist. The hawthorn berry acted as a natural vasodilator, gently coaxing my rigid blood vessels to relax and widen, while the CoQ10 flooded my cardiac mitochondria with the pure cellular energy it desperately needed to repair the scarred tissue. To combat the blood-thickening dehydration without causing midnight awakenings, I consumed a single, small cup of warm hibiscus tea infused with a pinch of Celtic sea salt. This specific combination drew the water into my cells for deep hydration, rather than letting it sit in my bladder, ensuring my blood remained fluid and easy for my heart to pump throughout the night. I also ruthlessly purged artificial light from my bedroom, investing in blackout curtains, and replacing my reading lamp with an amber, blue light blocking bulb. I committed to a routine of deep, diaphragmatic breathing before sleep, actively forcing my nervous system out of the sympathetic fight or flight mode and into the parasympathetic rest and digest state, effectively shutting off the cortisol faucet. The transformation was not instantaneous, but it was undeniable. Within 3 weeks, the chronic, heavy ache that had lingered in my left shoulder since the heart attack began to dissolve. The terrifying palpitations that used to wake me in a cold sweat vanished entirely. My morning blood pressure, which had stubbornly remained in the danger zone despite the doctor's pills, steadily plummeted to levels I hadn't seen since my 20s. When I finally returned to my cardiologist 6 months later, he stared at my echocardiogram and lipid panels in absolute stunned silence. The arterial stiffness had regressed. My heart was no longer that of a dying man. It was thriving, beating with a powerful rhythmic resonance that echoed the triumph of nature over synthetic suppression. The profound transformation I experienced proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that our biological destiny is not written in stone, nor is it the property of the pharmaceutical industry. We have been conditioned to believe that aging is an inevitable, agonizing decline, a slow surrender to failing organs and an ever-expanding pill organizer. But my journey from the terrifying precipice of death in that dark bedroom to a life of vibrant, unshakable cardiovascular health stands as a testament to the miraculous healing capacity of the human body. Your heart is not a fragile, ticking time bomb waiting to betray you. It is an exceptionally resilient engine that is simply crying out for the right environment to heal itself. The medical establishment wants you docile, fearful, and dependent. They want you to believe that the nighttime rusting of your arteries is just bad luck or bad genetics, when in reality, it is a direct consequence of habits we can change and biochemical pathways we can control. By identifying the 7 deadly nighttime habits and understanding the true threat of oxysterols, you are no longer a victim wandering blindly in the dark. You are now equipped with the armor of scientific truth. But knowledge without action is entirely useless. You must look at your own evening routines tonight and make the hard, necessary choices to protect your physiology. Throw away the late-night sugary snacks, turn off the television, and begin implementing the natural compounds that shield your endothelial walls. I am sharing this deeply personal, terrifying chapter of my life, not for sympathy, but to ignite a rebellion in your own living room. I want you to wake up tomorrow morning feeling the vital, powerful surge of life in your chest, knowing that you are actively rebuilding your health while the rest of the world unknowingly destroys theirs in their sleep. If this message resonated with the deepest part of you, if it sparked a realization that could save your life or the life of someone you love, do not let it end here. Share this video with every aging family member and friend who is currently trapped in the medical system's endless cycle of symptom management. Hit the subscribe button so we can continue to bypass the algorithm's censorship and bring these buried truths into the light. You have the power to rewrite the ending of your story. Protect your heart, guard your nights, and take back the vibrant, healthy tomorrows that rightfully belong to you. The journey from the brink of cardiovascular collapse to vibrant health reveals a crucial truth. Heart disease is rarely a sudden ambush, but rather the cumulative result of silent, nighttime habits that rust our arteries in the dark. Late-night eating, alcohol consumption, screen exposure, dehydration, heavy saturated fats, background noise, and ignored sleep apnea create a perfect storm of systemic inflammation and oxidative stress. This toxic environment transforms essential cholesterol into jagged oxysterols, the true biochemical assassins that tear through the delicate endothelial lining of our blood vessels while we sleep. Mainstream medicine often focuses on merely lowering cholesterol volume with synthetic drugs, completely missing the critical step of preventing its oxidation. However, the body possesses a miraculous capacity for self-repair when provided with the correct biological environment. By implementing a strategic nighttime protocol, which involves strict fasting 3 hours before bed, eliminating artificial blue light, and utilizing natural biochemical shields like aged black garlic extract, CoQ10, and hawthorn berry, we can halt this internal rusting process. These natural compounds neutralize free radicals, reduce arterial stiffness, and promote deep cellular healing. Ultimately, our biological destiny is not dictated by aging or lifelong pharmaceutical dependence. By taking conscious control of our evening routines and understanding the molecular mechanics of our bodies, we can transform our bloodstreams from corrosive environments into rivers of healing. True healing begins the moment we stop outsourcing our health to a reactive, symptom-managing medical system and take proactive ownership of our daily habits. The deepest takeaway is that our bodies are not inherently flawed machines destined to break down with age. They are incredibly resilient ecosystems. Cardiovascular decline is not an inevitable life sentence, but rather a direct biological response to an unnatural, modern lifestyle. Start tonight by ruthlessly auditing your evening routine and treating the hours before sleep as a sacred healing window. Close the kitchen. Stop consuming all calories, alcohol, and sugary snacks at least 3 hours before bed to prevent dangerous glucose spikes and the resulting glycation process. Power down. Turn off televisions and digital screens at least an hour before sleep. Swap the blue light for amber reading lamps and practice deep, diaphragmatic breathing to lower cortisol and naturally boost melatonin. Hydrate smartly. Drink a small cup of warm hibiscus tea with a pinch of real sea salt to keep your blood flowing smoothly without causing midnight bathroom trips. Explore natural shields. Look into natural, scientifically backed supplements like aged garlic extract or bioavailable CoQ10 to protect your arteries while you rest. Which of the 7 deadly nighttime habits mentioned in this story do you find yourself struggling with the most? And what is one small change you plan to make tonight? Please share your perspective in the comments section below so we can all learn from each other's experiences. If you found this information valuable, please hit the subscribe button. Your support fuels this channel and gives us the motivation to keep bypassing the algorithm to bring you more powerful, truth-driven health content.